Whoops, I forgot to unmute, but that's okay. Ladies and gentlemen, for the first time in quite some time, we are live with NRLOA McDonald's Cup Series action for the first time, and I want to say probably 5 years. 5 years, ladies and gentlemen. Can you believe that? 5 years ago was the last time we went racing in the NRLOA McDonald's Cup Series. And here we are 5 years later, getting ready for the first points race of the season. Live, literally live on stream, which will be posted up on YouTube the following day. Welcome to the Daytona International Speedway. As always, I'm Elijah Leonard, the lead announcer, of course, for the NRLOA McDonald's Cup Series. This is definitely history making because first race of the McDonald's Cup Series since 2019. It has been quite some time since we've seen the series take to the racetrack for its first points race of the season. But this is definitely going to be a big deal because, you know, we've got some, because of course we're going to be doing this live. We're going to be doing these races a lot longer than usual. So this is going to be big. This is going to be big. It's something I've never really done before, especially for a full season. So we're going to try to take this season all the way to its entirety, and we're going to do the exactly the best that we possibly can. So it's a big day for these drivers. Big day. I don't even know. I'm just really excited. My brain's kind of going everywhere at this particular rate, because I'm just excited. I'm excited to get this race going. We had the clash this a couple weeks ago. Of course, Ryan Durrani went on to take the checkered flag at New Smyrna just 2 weeks ago, and then here we are at Daytona. We had our front row qualifying held privately. Of course, you see there Jeremiah Simpson and also Damian Kyle Wood. They're on our front row for this race, and then our duels this past Thursday decided the rest of the starting lineup. And speaking of, let's go ahead and meet your starting lineup for the 2024 NRLOA McDonald's Cup Series Daytona 500. In row 21, starting 42nd in the number 7 Pilot Flying J Chevrolet for Tommy Baldwin Racing, Casey Wells. In the 41st position, driving the number 21 Ford Motorcraft Ford Fusion for the Wood Brothers, Tatiana Noguera. In row 20, starting 40th in the number 83 Borea Exhaust Toyota Camry, Sebastian Palmer. Starting 39th in the number 98 Phil Parsons Racing Chevrolet, it is Colin Block. In row number 19, starting 38th in the number 43 Smithfield Ford Fusion for Richard Petty Motorsports, Sammy Cars. Starting 37th in the number 48 Lowe's Chevrolet for Hendrick Motorsports, it is Terry Walker. In row 18, starting 36th in the number 15 5 Hour Energy Toyota Camry for Michael Waltrip Racing, it is Skylar Taylor. Starting 35th in the number 16 3M Innovation Ford Fusion for Roush Fenway Racing, it is John Felber. In row 17, starting 34th in the number 2 Miller Lite Ford Fusion for Team Penske, it's Will Parrish. Starting 33rd in the number 13 Geico Chevrolet for Germain Racing, PJ Vidal. In row number 16, starting 32nd in the number 22 Shell Pennzoil Ford Fusion for Team Penske, it is Travis Crampton. Starting 31st in the number 30 Swan Energy Toyota Camry for Swan Energy Motorsports, it is Avon Murray. In row number 15, starting 30th in the number 95 K-Love Ford Fusion for Levine Family Racing, it is the 2023 Pumpkin 250 winner, BB Hange. Starting 29th in the number 47 Kingsford Chevrolet for JTG Daughtery Racing, it is Derek Hamill. In row number 14, starting 28th in the number 5 Farmers Insurance Chevrolet for Hendrick Motorsports, it is Bryce Egan. Starting 27th in the number 23 Dr. Pepper Toyota Camry for BK Racing, Matthew Hubert. In row number 13, starting 26th in the number 17 Nationwide Insurance Ford Fusion for Roush Fenway Racing, it is John Andrews. Starting 25th in the number 24 Drive to End Hunger Chevrolet for Hendrick Motorsports, it is Stephen Colon. In row number 12, we have an RCR duo in row number 12 to clarify. Starting 24th in the number 31 Caterpillar Chevrolet for Richard Childress Racing, Edson Hernandez. And starting 23rd in the number 3 Cheerios Chevrolet for also Richard Childress Racing, Mitchell O'Brien. In the 11th row, starting 22nd in the number 40 CarsForSale.com Chevrolet, it is Michael DeFeo. Starting 21st in the number 27 Richmond Water Heaters Menards Chevrolet for Richard Childress Racing, Dale Johnson II. As we move into our top 20 starters in row number 10, starting 20th in the number 11 FedEx Express Toyota Camry for Joe Gibbs Racing, Kyler Sustry. Starting 19th in the number 78 Furniture Row Chevrolet for Furniture Row Racing, Matt Jones. In row number 9, starting 18th in the number 26 Speed Stick Gear Toyota Camry for Swan Energy Motorsports, it is Alex Savantali. Starting 17th in the number 18 Interstate Batteries Toyota Camry for Joe Gibbs Racing, it is Michael Young. In row number 8, starting 16th in the number 55 Aaron's Dream Machine Toyota Camry for Michael Waltrip Racing, Daniel Adams. Starting 15th in the number 34 CSX Ford Fusion for Front Row Motorsports, Josh Lee. In row number 7, starting 14th in the number 14 Bass Pro Shops Mobile One Chevrolet for Stuart Haas Racing, our Wendy's Clash winner, it is Ryan Durrani. Starting 13th in the number 42 Target Chevrolet for Chip Ganassi Racing, it is the big staple, Nathan Stapleton. In row number 6, starting 12th in the number 51 Brant Chevrolet for H. Scott Motorsports, it is Roberto Crown Jr. Starting 11th in the number 4 Jimmy John's Chevrolet for Stuart Haas Racing, Tyler Belladonna. And ladies and gentlemen, it is time to meet your top 10 for the Great American Race, the Daytona 500, starting 10th in the number 99 Fastenal Ford Fusion for Roush Fenway Racing, Wyatt Walker. Starting 9th in the number 32 Ask More, Get More Ford Fusion for Go Fast Racing, it is Alex Rampus. Starting 8th in the number 88 National Guard Chevrolet for Hendrick Motorsports, Val Moscow. Starting 7th in the number 1 McDonald's Chevrolet for Chip Ganassi Racing, Rogel Dorn. Starting 6th in the number 41 Haas Automation Chevrolet for Stuart Haas Racing in her first ever Daytona 500, Naya Steidel. As we move into our top 5 starters, starting 5th in the number 10, GoDaddy.com Chevrolet for Stuart Haas Racing, Bob Floyd. Starting 4th in the number 9, Stanley DeWalt Ford Fusion for Richard Petty Motorsports, our Gatorade Dual 2 winner, Zachary Fitzwater. Starting 3rd in the number 36 Golden Corral Chevrolet for Tommy Baldwin Racing, our Dual 1 winner, Chad Gronkowski. And ladies and gentlemen, we have made it. It is time to meet your front row for the Daytona 500. Starting second in the number 38 Loves Travel Stops Ford Fusion for Front Row Motorsports, Damian Kyle Wood. And starting on the pole, leading the field to green in the number 20 Dollar General Toyota Camry for Joe Gibbs Racing, Jeremiah Simpson. And ladies and gentlemen, that is your front row for the Daytona 500. There's one thing I do have to do before I go ahead and do anything else. First of all, yes, the camera is a little messed up, but that's not why I'm switching to this camera view, because I am going to turn off something else. There we go. That's good. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is your starting lineup for the 2024 NRLOA McDonald's Cup Series Daytona 500. I'm really excited, guys. This is definitely going to be a really, really big deal for the Great American Race to kick off the 2024 NRLOA McDonald's Cup Series, and it's all going to be broadcasted live right here on Twitch. And if there's anybody watching on YouTube, it's all right, guys. I got you covered. So, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and we're going to get these guys to the point where they're going to have to start firing engines here pretty soon. So let's get the command to fire the engines.
I can't hear you! Drivers! Start your engines!
There it is. Engines are fired. Pace car is rolling off. And so are these 42 competitors taking to the track for the first time. All 42 near full song. Well, at 70 miles per hour back behind the pace car, double file formation. Man, I don't know. I don't know how else to really express my excitement for this. I really don't. Because this in and of itself is probably one of the best spectacles you're ever going to find anywhere else, especially at this time of year. For Daytona International Speedway, 42 Cup cars taking to the track, ready for the green flag. Just anxiously wanting to get this 100-lapper underway for the Daytona 500. Now, keep in mind, for our points system, it's going to be a strict points championship where consistency is going to be key. So it's 1 point for leading a lap, 5 bonus points for leading the most laps, and then 10 for winning the race. And of course, first place just normally would get 42 points. But you add all those bonus points together, you should get about 58 bonus points, I should say. But here we go. Jeremiah Simpson, Damian Kyle Wood on the front row as they round their way off of turn number 4, heading into the tri-oval. And that pace car makes that hard left-hand turn to pit road, and we're ready to go for the 2024 NRLOA McDonald's Cup Series season. The Daytona 500 is underway. Jeremiah Simpson already taking off with the top position, but he's going to be trapped on the outside by Chad Gronkowski. Our dual one winner to the inside, going to take over the top position as they work their way off of turn number 4. But that outside line starting to fight back just a little bit, but it's going to be Gronkowski leading the first lap of the 2024 season. And he's going to be able to fully clear the 20 of Jeremiah Simpson. Here comes Bob Floyd in the number 10. You have Rogel Dorn in the 1. Also Alex Rampus in the number 32 right there, all on that inside line. We still have yet to see 3 wide action, but Gronkowski still out front. And just as soon as I say something about 3 wide action, we almost had it. Rampus was right there trying to make it 3 abreast, but couldn't quite get the good enough run to make that stick. But there are 3 wide in the back of the field right now as we currently speak. Gronkowski leads lap number 2 with Bob Floyd second, Rogel Dorn third. Also the 20 of Jeremiah Simpson fourth, and Alex Rampus completing the top 5 as of lap number 2. 4 cars single file, at least for the moment. Now make that 5, as looks like Simpson breaks out of that pack, but now here comes Bob Floyd in the 10 to the inside. And just as soon as I say something about them going single file, that is when they just start to break into double file formation. So Bob Floyd is going to be able to take over the top position now. He becomes the second leader of this race. Rampus right there in second car on that inside line, the highest running Ford as of right now. It is early in the going, but currently the highest running Ford in this event. Running in second, Jeremiah Simpson has worked his way down to the inside lane, so he's going to move up into third if he's able to get that run. Going into turn number 3, it looks like he's going to be able to do it. But Rampus is going to take over second, so Simpson's going to move up to third, put Gronkowski back to fourth, maybe fifth here if he loses it to Tyler Belladonna, who currently is on the inside line. He's got Nathan Stapleton, Josh Lee, and Michael Young, and a lot of others lined up directly behind this number 4 as they head back down into turn number 1. Remember, if you're just now tuning in, we just went green for the Daytona 500. Currently, right now, we have had 2 different leaders. Of course, Chad Gronkowski led the opening 2 to 3 laps, and now currently it is Bob Floyd who's out front. Jeremiah Simpson on the attack, down on the inside, bringing Tyler Belladonna with him. And they're going to move their way around Alex Rampus, who's going to be picked up by Gronkowski as they work their way off of turn number 4. They are 3 wide towards the middle of the pack here. That's Stephen Colon on the bottom, Val Mosco, Colon's teammate in the middle, and Zachary Fitzwater up top with Nia Steidel at number 41. You also have Wyatt Walker, who's currently sitting in the middle. And now he tucks in down on that bottom lane in front of Ryan Durrani, our Clash winner from New Smyrna just a couple of weeks ago. So they work their way down the back straightaway once again. Currently, Val Mosco still sitting in the middle, but it'll only be a matter of time before they can actually get this settled down. But it looks like Cologne also just went from the bottom to the top. Meanwhile, back up front, 3 wide for the race lead. Here comes Tyler Belladonna in the 4, underneath of both Floyd and Simpson. And Belladonna, completely clear of traffic, is going to take over the top spot. But here comes Nathan Stapleton in that number 42 down on the inside. Followed by Josh Lee, Young, Dale Johnson II, Mitchell O'Brien in that number 3 machine. Damian Kyle Wood coming back into the mix. This is a common theme that we're going to be seeing throughout this entire race should it go caution-free. Drivers that were in the back, they're going to cycle to the front. Drivers in the front to the back. It's all just going to keep flip-flopping as this race goes on. But pit stops could very well put a damper onto those plans, especially in this 100-lapper, because we're going to have at least maybe 2, maybe 3 pit stops throughout this race. So that's definitely going to be something we're going to have to watch for as the day goes on. But Stapleton currently leading the Daytona 500, 7 laps complete. 93 laps to go, of course. Still very, very early. And it's still a long way to go here in this Daytona 500. Here comes Josh Lee to the inside. Currently with no help, Dale Johnson's going to drop down to the inside. Also going to get picked up by his teammate, Mitchell O'Brien, in that 3. And Rampus now up top, 3 wide, with Gronkowski in the middle, Ava Murray on the bottom. And there's still double file towards the front of the field as of right now. But I thought for a second Johnson was going to open the door for 3 wide action and have Mitchell O'Brien drive underneath, but O'Brien is pretty content staying on the back bumper of this number 27. Watch, as soon as I say that, he could potentially make a pass going through the tri-oval. But Josh Lee, in that number 34, has taken over the top spot. He led the last lap just over Nathan Stapleton. He's completely clear of traffic as of right now. Has nobody around him except behind him. But let's see what happens going into turn number 1. Here comes Dale Johnson. Peeking the nose of that number 27, a little bit lower than what you normally would expect, but wasn't able to make that pass successful. So 4 cars right now, single file. Then you get back to here. Well, O'Brien's going to make the move for second, but now you get back over here. Derek Hamill in that number 47, who started near the back of the field. He's already up towards the front, contesting for 5th with Nathan Stapleton. And they were 3 abreast for just a little bit. They still are with Simpson in the middle. Here comes Skylar Taylor in that number 15 right there on that inside line. He's also got Tyler Belladonna on that 3rd line. And it looks like they're going to settle it back down to double file, at least for the time being. Taylor's going to drop down low. Here comes Damian Kylewood in that 38. That's going to be the move for 3rd position. Well, 2nd, rather. As they work their way through turn number 4. The Front Row Motorsports duo currently sitting 1-2 here in this Daytona 500 with Josh Lee leading, and outside pole sitter Damian Kylewood finding himself right back where he started in that 2nd position. But I wouldn't expect him to stay there for long, of course, because obviously we still have a long way to go. And we still have much action. I'm not even making sense anymore. Not even making sense anymore. But right now, the top 5 currently consists of the Front Row Motorsports cars, who are currently now side by side. That's for the lead. Wood and Lee currently 1st and 2nd. Then you had Derek Hamill, Mitchell O'Brien 3rd and 4th, and Avon Murray completed the top 5. But that all is going to change once they cross the stripe this time by. Wood's going to lead this lap. And Avon Murray in that number 30 peaks the nose way low. But so does Colin Block in that 98. He could have made a 3 wide going into turn number 1, but I think he just definitely thought twice of it, because he knows, as I'm going to mention, as we get probably past the 1/4 mark of this race, there's still a lot of racing to go. Still a lot of action that needs to be taken by a lot of these drivers. That will be taken by a lot of drivers, of course. A lot of it is going to be offensive action for sure, as these drivers are going to be trying to move their way up towards the front of the field. But obviously with the super speedway racing package, it is a lot harder to move your way up to the front than it is any other place, whether it be Dover, whether it be Las Vegas, whether it be Martinsville or Watkins Glen. You know, it's not particularly the easiest thing to do to navigate your way through the field and move your way up towards the front, especially when you have all 42 cars just compiled in a pack like this. Meanwhile, as soon as I say that, up front, 3 wide for the top position, Damian Kylewood just sent way high. Avon Murray was in the middle, but Colin Block was the one that made the move, and he's going to go to the lead here in this Daytona 500. Here comes Tatiana Noguera in that 21, who started towards the back of the field, now moving up into 2nd, bringing Michael Young with him. Also the number 83 of Sebastian Palmer, who just dominated every single aspect of the Wendy's Clash at New Smyrna just a mere 2 weeks ago. Won his heat, led every single lap there, by the way, and led nearly every single lap at New Smyrna, but just fell short of winning by making just one tiny little mistake. One tiny little mistake with the lap traffic that allowed Ryan Durrani to rocket around the outside when a caution flag came out. If caution came out when he needed it most, especially when Palmer was having to deal with that slower traffic. And Ryan Durrani went on to win that race, and Sebastian Palmer went on to finish second. But Palmer's looking to change all that by trying to get his season started off right with this Daytona 500. You see there, Michael Young in that number 18 moving his way down to the inside to take over the top position from Colin Block. He's going to slide up in front of that number 98 and then cut right back down to the bottom, completely clear of all traffic, at least for now. I wouldn't expect that to change. Well, I was going to expect it to change. I don't know. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore, because here comes Sebastian Palmer to the inside. Coming off of turn 2, now down the back straightaway. Matt Jones, that number 78, is going to look to make it 3 wide as they go into turn number 3. That is going to be the battle for the 3rd position, and they're 3 wide in another spot of the pack. Sammy Cars in that 43 is here. Josh Lee now in the middle. Tatiana Noguera now stuck in the middle. Palmer's going to lead this lap. And Matt Jones in that number 78. Looking pretty sporty, pretty aggressive as we're reaching the 1/4 mark of this Daytona 500. The front row Motorsports cars currently stuck in the middle along with Derek Hamill in this number 27. If we can just work back over to him. There he is. Right now, Derek Hamill currently sitting in that 14th position. Currently scored 14th, but obviously once we cross the start-finish line this time around, that is definitely not going to be 14th. That if anything, that might be 19th. Maybe a little bit deeper in the field. Let's see. If we cross the stripe, Derek Hamill got sent all the way back to 16th. So not the biggest difference in the world when it comes to how many spots he lost, but still, especially being in the middle, being in the middle is definitely not the place you want to be. Matt Jones, though, leads the Daytona 500. Here comes Matthew Hubert as we look further back in the field. He tried to get by the number 22 of Travis Crampton. Crampton started 32nd in this race, and also Hubert started 27th in this event. And now here we are coming up to complete 19 laps. They are both finding themselves inside of the top 10. Val Mosco, Terry Walker, both of them finding themselves up here as well. Terry Walker started, I believe, 37th in the Daytona 500. He now finds himself top 10 right now, on the bottom of a 3-wide situation with Hubert in the middle, and I believe that's going to be Rogel Dorn. Or no, Michael Young trapped up top. Meanwhile, up front, battle for the lead. Here comes Mitchell O'Brien to the inside. We're going to be 2/10 of the way through this Daytona 500. If you're just now tuning in, we've been caution-free here in this great American race. We're going to be about 10 or so laps away from our first round of green flag pit stops, and we've had some amazing action thus far. Amazing super speedway action, amazing Daytona 500 action, to say the least. Had some 3-wide here and there. For example, we've got some 3-wide going on right here with Michael Young up top. It looks like Tatiana Noguera is going to be in the middle of that scenario. And here comes our 2023 Pumpkin 250 winner, BB Hange, in that number 95, tailing the number 9 of Zachary Fitzwaters. They work their way through 3 and 4. Now Rogel Dorn finds himself in the middle, but finds himself up top. Still stuck on that 3rd lane with Michael Young in that 18. But now Bob Floyd is also in the middle of that 3-wide situation. Crampton also leads the Daytona 500. As you see there on the ticker, he's going to be able to get by that number 3, fully get by the 3 of O'Brien. And now here comes Terry Walker. He peaked low for a moment to try to go 3 abreast on his own teammate, but has elected not to. Probably taking some team orders from good old Rick Hendrick. You never really know. But Val Moscow moves up into second. So give third position over to Terry Walker. Kyler Sustry in that number 11 moves up inside of the top 5, currently being scored 5th, with Mitchell O'Brien 4th, and then Matt Jones 6th, then 7th Damian Kyle Wood, 8th and 9th are both Richard Petty Motorsports cars respectively. Sammy Cars 43, Zachary Fitzwater 9th, and number 9, and also Matthew Hubert completes the top 10. Battle for the lead. Here comes the number 88 of Val Moscow down to the inside. They're going to be completing lap 23 once they cross the stripe. Now, at this particular point, if I'm a driver, I would definitely be at this point of the race. I would definitely be looking at my fuel gauge, maybe formulating a plan of more importantly, formulating a plan as to who I'm going to come down pit road with, when I'm going to come down pit road. Once we get around that pit window, should be right, which, as I mentioned, should be right around lap 31 to about 36. 31 to 36 laps. So this is going to be interesting as to how these drivers are going to formulate who they're going to come down with, when they're going to come down pit road. But I'm willing to bet you that it's going to be nearly every single car that's going to come on down pit road, slap on some 4 new Goodyears, top off on that fuel, tear off on that winch, and get a nice fresh windshield. And then they'll be good to go for the next green flag stint. 4-car single file. Kyler Sustry right there on the tailgate of the number 88. Here he comes down to the inside. Damian Kyle Wood's going to follow in that number 38. And it looks like Zachary Fitzwater is going to go with him with BB Hange in that 95 machine. Looks like Fitzy elected to... I think he elected just the middle line, but Hange was all the way down on that double yellow line. So I thought he was gonna put Fitzy in the middle, but so far that just has not been the case. Sustry leads it by just a mere 0.03 of a second over Val Moscow. So we are now 1/4 of the way through this Daytona 500, and we have ourselves a 3-wide battle for the race lead. Here comes Damian Kyle Wood to the inside of Sustry and Moscow. This is going to put Moscow hung out to dry on that 3rd line, at least for now. And now he tucks him in front of Travis Crampton. Now that puts the 3 of O'Brien in the middle. And here's another driver coming up inside of the top 10. That is Bryce Egan in that number 5 machine. Currently being scored 7th right now. I believe he started 28th in this Daytona 500. Currently now, as I mentioned, in the 7th position, trying to knock on the door of the top 5. He currently is in top 5 right now, trying to move up into the 4th position, trying to get himself a good enough run. Meanwhile, up front, Zachary Fitzwater is going to make a run for the top position as they work their way off of turn number 4. Give that top spot to the number 9 of Zachary Fitzwater, but it looks like DK Woods kind of fighting back around the outside, but to no avail. The inside line is definitely the preferred line to take as Fitzy leads that lap over DK Wood. Terry Walker stuck in the middle, 3 wide. And also Avon Murray, they have 3 wide towards the back of the field. Now we have more 3 wide at the front of the field. Hernandez makes it 3 abreast. He's bringing Roberto Crown Jr. with him. And also Mitchell O'Brien and now Chad Gronkowski go to the middle line. So now they're 3 wide, about 3 rows deep. It could be 4 soon. You never really know where 3... I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. I'm getting tongue twisted. But Fitzy's still continuing to lead. Here comes Roberto Crown Jr. to the inside. That's going to be 3 wide for second. Tyler Belladonna almost made a 3 abreast underneath of what looks like Chad Gronkowski and Crampton going through 1 and 2, because Gronkowski looked to be holding the door completely wide open for Belladonna to take that invitation to cover up that bottom. And looks like Belladonna thought twice of that. And look at this 3 wide action that we're now starting to witness here as we're closing in on 29 laps complete, almost 30 laps complete now, 3/10 of the way through. Roberto Crown Jr. just leads that lap over Will Parrish, who also just barely took second away from Zachary Fitzwater at the stripe. Just think if that was the finish of the Daytona 500. Parrish would have won that by just a mere matter of 2 stacks of a piece of paper. That totally made sense, by the way. Totally made sense. The Crown continuing to lead. Parrish now in second. Daniel Adams now starting to show up inside of the top 5 for the first time today. Sitting in that 3rd position for that Michael Waltrip Racing number 55. With 30 laps complete, we are now 70 more laps away from the finish of the Daytona 500. But we still got plenty of ways to go here in this great American race. Moving their way off of turn 2, now down the back straightaway. 4 cars now, maybe make that 5 if Fitzy can clear the number 18 of Michael Young. So far, he hasn't had any sort of good luck in that. But meanwhile, up front, lead change. Here comes Will Parrish, bringing the number 55 of Adams and also Gronkowski with him. Leaving Roberto Crown Jr. hung out to dry, but he's got to get picked up by Zachary Fitzwater. Parrish now leads that lap. And at this particular point, I would be wanting to figure out exactly when I'm coming to pit road and who I'm coming down with. But you also have to keep in mind there's going to be lots of other drivers that are going to be formulating that exact same plan. And there's a very high chance that they're all going to come down at the exact same time, with maybe a couple of other stragglers that are going to stay out. Because the last thing that they probably want is to trash their car coming to pit road and causing a caution flag. And it looks like we're getting ready to see that right now. Here they come down to pit road. Our first batch of cars. Gronkowski, BB Hange. Looks like Tyler Belladonna's in. Fitzy, Skylar Taylor. I almost said Zachary Taylor. My bad. Hernandez, DeFeo, John Andrews, Durrani. Dale Johnson II, Savantali's in. Lots of others down on pit road. But we're definitely going to start seeing more cars come down pit road this time by. I would definitely not count out these leaders coming in at all whatsoever. Same goes for these drivers over here, and then some on back. And now here come the leaders. Parrish, Crown, Young, Adams. Damian Kyle Wood's going to stay out. That's interesting. Stephen Colon is coming in with Alex Rampus, Casey Wells, who started shotgun on the field at the time of this green flag pit stop this round of green flag pit stops. She currently was scored, I believe, 9th. Palmer's in, John Felber, Sammy Cars. Everybody in the second group is on pit road. Damian Kyle Wood was the only other one that stayed out. Wait a minute. What is Daniel Adams doing? Daniel. This is a 3,400-pound stock car, Daniel Adams. This is not a lawnmower. But he just mowed the lawn on the front straightaway at Daytona. I'm not sure why. That's interesting. But meanwhile, looks like I think Damian Kyle Wood is on pit road. That is indeed the case. So Wood is in the pits, getting service done to his race car, and everybody else is now starting to make their way back out onto the racetrack. Now the question is, who is going to be the leader after this round of green flag stops? I mean, the good chance that it could potentially be Will Parrish in this number 2 machine, followed by Michael Young, Gronkowski, Roberto Crown Jr., and BB Hange. But they are all heavily spread out. And also, you see there, number 55 had to serve a stop-and-go penalty for doing exactly this. Daniel, oh my gosh, Daniel, what are you doing? Daniel, this is not a lawnmower. It's a 3,400-pound stock car. You're gonna get DQ'd. Man, oh man, oh man. You gotta love NR 2003, ladies and gentlemen. Also, as far as Reaper goes, Reaper, how we doing? Welcome on in, ladies and gentlemen. If you're just now tuning in, I think we're just on the verge of wrapping up. I think we already have rounded up green flag pit stops, wrapped them up, I should say. And after all that, Chad Gronkowski takes over the lead over Michael Young with Will Parrish and BB Haynes, Roberto Crown Jr. Looks like this is going to be the lead pack. This is all the top 5 cars that just come back out onto the track. Then currently running 6th is Damian Kyle Wood, 7th Casey Wells, 8th Stephen Colon, 9th will be the number 9 of Zachary Fitzwater, and Edson Hernandez rounds out the top 10. Take a look at this big old wad of cars right here. Looks like they're going to be shaping up to pick up Damian Kyle Wood, who's currently sitting all by himself. And we all know how super speedway racing works, especially when if you were in the lead. Yeah, I know this DK Wood is not in the lead, but if you were in the lead and you had this big of a gap, you're definitely going to get eaten up for lunch. And this is exactly what's about to happen to Damian Kyle Wood. This pack just caught him up, and now they're going to shuffle him out. They're going to really shuffle him out. They just went 3 wide going through turn at number 3, and now Wood is going to be merging right back in with this pack. So he's definitely going to be up to speed with the rest of these drivers. See that ticker change? Will Parrish, currently the race leader. Now Roberto Crown Jr. second. Roberto Crown Jr. second. Then BB Haynes third. Chad Gronkowski sitting in that 4th position. And then Michael Young completed the top 5. They've also, I thought they caught up to lap traffic, but I'm just seeing things. But Crown takes over that top position over Will Parrish, who's now being shuffled out. Now currently being shuffled out, at least for the moment. So now it looks like Parrish is going to tuck right back in, right about back behind Chad Gronkowski, but now they're shuffling that top position. Here comes the 2023 Pumpkin 250 winner, BB Haynes, down to the inside, and that number 95 is going to take over the top position. Man, just look at the gap between the 5th place car, currently scored 5th place car, Chad Gronkowski, and also currently scored 6th place car, Skylar Taylor. That's a 4-second difference between the front 5 and then this group of cars right here. Now, I'm willing to bet you that it's only a matter of time before this pack catches up with the lead group. Probably, let's see here, at the stripe. Little by little, just picked up a 10th, so probably in another, I don't know. It's going to be a bit before this pack of cars catches up to the front 5, but if they keep racing like this, I don't think they're going to catch up to the lead group, which is, for the most part, single file, until you get this, 3 wide. Chad Gronkowski making the move underneath of Michael Young and BB Haynes. Now both strapped up on the outside line, and Gronkowski's going to lead this lap. But still, even if these drivers up front are currently just racing hard, and so are these drivers right here, the difference just changed by 3/100ths of a second. It's not a big difference, but it could mean something. It could mean something very, very small. But meanwhile, focusing back in up towards the front of the field. Not much going on other than a bunch of shuffling. Of course, Michael Young's going to maintain that third position. The gap now is now 3.98 seconds. So a couple of tenths were just gained there. So it'll only be a matter of time before this second pack catches up to the front five. Currently consists of Skylar Taylor, Bryce Egan, Damian Kyle Wood, Stephen Colon, Edson Hernandez in that 31, John Andrews in the 17 for the first time, poking his head inside of the top 10. That number 17 of John Andrews unfortunately didn't make the Clash back on the 3rd of February, just 2 weeks ago. Didn't make it, unfortunately, but still, first points race of the season, currently showing up inside of the top 10. Now outside of the top 10, but still, good showing for John Andrews nonetheless. There's still three wide now at the front of this group. But also featured in this group is Tyler Belladonna in that 4, Terry Walker in the 48, Zachary Fitzwater in the 9, Casey Wells in the 7, who started shotgun on the field, currently being scored 16th as of right now on lap 43, coming around to complete 43 laps this time by. Just 7 laps away from the halfway point of this great American race, the Daytona 500. So glad you guys could be joining us here for our live coverage of the NRLOA McDonald's Cup Series Daytona 500. As always, I'm Elijah Leonard, your lead announcer for this one and the solo commentator for this. But if you're just tuning in, we just had our green flag pit stops just about 10-ish laps ago. And the front 5 are currently out by 4 seconds over this group of cars that are just currently racing it out, slugging it out to try to get to the front of this group. And they're currently not really formulating a plan to get single file just to chase down the top 5 who are currently out by 4 seconds, as I mentioned. They currently haven't really formulated a plan to do that. They're just still racing. Let's focus a little bit further back in the field, and then we have a third pack of cars roughly about the same size as the top 5, but just add one more car into that mix. Of course, you got Michael DeFeo back here, along with Ryan Durrani, our Clash winner. There's Kyler Sustry in the number 11, Val Mosco in the 88. There's Wyatt Walker in that number 99 machine, and then Dale Johnson the second, currently being scored what looks to be in the 22nd position. And you look back over here, this is our fourth pack of cars, currently just slugging it out 3 wide. Matt Jones leading this group. There's Matthew Hubert in that 23. Also Derek Hamill in that 47 machine. Colin Block, John Felber, that 16 3M machine. Nathan Stapleton, who started 13th on the field, currently being scored 30th. Definitely not where you really want to be. So this is kind of a replay of what we're seeing with the first and second group of cars, except this is happening with the third and fourth group of cars. You see these guys, they were kind of single file for a split second, but still kind of racing for the most part. But then you get back to this group who haven't really done much, and it looks like Daniel Adams must have unfortunately mowed the lawn too many times, which apparently the game thinks that he's driving a lawnmower, so he had to drive through the grass about 10 times, and it looks like he's being held in the pits. His chances of obviously winning or even finishing the Daytona 500 are pretty much over. He is DQ'd from the event. And I didn't personally DQ him. That was all the game. That was all the game. But he's been sitting on pit road for a long enough time to where he unfortunately just isn't able to just recover from being 10 laps down, now 11 laps down. You see here the front 5 have all caught Travis Crampton, who must have been riding by himself. And now they're going to go ahead, they're going to put him a lap down. Currently being scored 41st. That is definitely not a good thing to see here from Travis Crampton. Started 32nd in the field, towards the rear end. Actually performed pretty well before the first round of green flag stops, and this just from starting 32nd and currently being scored 41st, now one lap down. Unfortunately, I just hate to say it, but that kind of, I wouldn't say that adds insult to injury, but that's still starting 32nd. But yeah, really, when you really think about it, starting anywhere at Daytona just doesn't really matter where you start. It only matters where you finish. But finishing 41st, one lap down, that is definitely not something that Travis Crampton wants to do to start off his 2024 tenure in the NRLOA McDonald's Cup Series. So they have shuffled him out, and I think he might just catch a whiff of the draft of this pack of cars. Good chance he might be able to. They're kind of pulling away from him. I don't even know if he's going to be able to keep up with these guys. But we are now on the halfway lap of the 2024 NRLOA McDonald's Cup Series Daytona 500. They're starting to get a little racy here with this race lead 3 wide going through turns 3 and 4. Roberto Crown Jr. shoved way high by Michael Young and Will Parrish. Give Young the race lead. He's going to lead the halfway lap here in this great American race, our first race of the McDonald's Cup Series season. Next week, I do believe we are going to Phoenix International Raceway for our second race of the season. That will also be broadcasted live on Twitch, and the full race replay. If you don't really watch Twitch streams or anything else on Twitch because of the advertisements, don't worry, guys. I got you covered, because we'll be also uploading our full race replays over on the 11 Variety channel. Be sure to go hit subscribe over there, and be sure to catch the full race replays completely completely ad-free. Might I add, ad-free over there. So it looks like Crampton, I do stand corrected in what I thought about Travis Crampton losing the draft of these 5 cars. It looks like he's just barely hanging on as of right now. And that second pack is now down to 3.5 seconds behind the 5th place car, currently BB Hange. But they are still double file. Well, at least they're kind of organized, I'd say. I kind of like an organized double file kind of action going on here. So now 52 laps complete. Young still leading it. Gronkowski moves up into second. And it looks like this group just lost about 3/10 on the top 5 cars, just because of the fact that they've been going side by side for quite a while, and they've also been hoping that this pack of cars have been racing, which they have, but they've been really, other than that, they've really mostly been single file. 3 wide though for the race lead. Michael Young gets shuffled out along with Chad Gronkowski by BB Hange in this number 95, trying to win another Crown Jewel event. He won the Pumpkin 250 back in October of last year. Now trying to add the Daytona 500 to his resume, and to also kick off his 2024 NRLOA McDonald's Cup tenure with a bang by leaving here with potentially leaving here with the points lead, heading over to Phoenix next week. So they work their way back down into turn number 3, with BB Hange still in command of this race, with Roberto Crown Jr. sitting in the 2nd position. Michael Young 3rd. Will Parrish now looks like he's going to lose the 4th spot to Gronkowski, so put him back into the 5th position. 3.3 seconds now for this second group of cars. led by Bryce Egan. You have Mitchell O'Brien, the two RCR cars of O'Brien and Hernandez right now nose to tail. Fitzwater moves up. Looks like that's going to be inside of the top 10. And they are still getting really, really racy up in the second group of cars. That is about a 3-second difference between 5th and 6th place right now. But looks like that might change as they cross the stripe this time by 3.18 seconds. That's just behind the race leader. But it looks like that might be a 2.9 second difference between 5th and 6th place right now. So Roberto Crown Jr., you just saw it there. You just saw it on the ticker. He took over the race lead from BB Hange. Will Parrish now moving up into second. You also have the 18 of Michael Young. Currently 4th. He might move up here into the 3rd position. And he's going to do exactly that once they cross the stripe, this time by 56 laps complete. 44 laps to go here in this Daytona 500. And at this point, I'm pretty sure we're going to be having yet another round of green flag stops. They might take place right around lap 62, maybe lap 64. We're just going to have to keep our eyes peeled open for that as they head back down into turn number 3. Once again, Crown still holding on to that top spot. Michael Young getting around the number 2 of Will Parrish. BB Hange in this number 95. Gonna go on the attack. Look, this is gonna be for the 3rd position, excuse me. Now, that gap between 5th and 6th now that looks like to be about a 2.7 second difference. So they are gaining little by little, but I don't think it's going to be enough time before we get to our next round of green flag stops. 3 wide for second. Gronkowski moving to the inside of Hange and also the 18 of Michael Young. Parrish now up and around the 18. So that puts him up into the 4th position. Let's focus a little bit further back in the field here, so we still have some pretty good racing action. John Andrews now the leader of this group. Casey Wells now currently being scored 7th, second car in line in this pack. Then you have Tyler Belladonna, Terry Walker in that number 48, along with the 24 of Stephen Colon, still battling it out side by side as they round through their way through turns 3 and 4, this time by 59 laps complete once they cross the stripe this time by. $40 laps to go next time around here in the Great American Race of the Daytona 500. So far, we've been caution-free. Still seen some pretty good, pretty solid action, I might say, despite the pack being completely broken up. I'd say we'd had some pretty good action. 3 wide now for the top spot. BB Hange going back on the attack on Will Parrish and Gronkowski as they work their way off of turn 4. But I don't know if you noticed it, but that second group just barely crept in the frame on the top end of the screen. There it is, right-hand side of your screen. John Andrews just crept into the picture. So that's saying that pack is closing in. But I think when it comes down to the pit stop scenario, it might be just a tad bit too little too late. Because then once pit stops just basically wrap up, once we cycle through green flag pit stops, if I can actually say it, they might have to start that whole process all over again. 39 laps to go when they cross the stripe this time by. BB Hange currently leading it. The next car looks like they're going to catch actually might be Daniel Adams, who they just let back out onto the racetrack. 13 laps down in this number 55 machine. This day for Daniel Adams went from good to bad with the penalty for driving through the infield grass with a unsafe pit road exit to just completely worse when the game registered, oh, I'm going to do it again and again and again and again. And now he is currently 13 laps down, may go 14 if these drivers are able to catch him before they start pitting. But let's focus back up towards the front of the field. Now there is a 1.7 second difference between 5th and 6th. But almost a 2-second advantage between 6th place, John Andrews, and the race leader, Will Parrish, who's no longer going to be, it looks like no longer going to be holding on to that top spot, because now here comes the 95. Back on the attack, down on the inside, with Michael Young and also Roberto Crown Jr. following. Is up at the top of the screen, you just saw Damian Kyle Wood take over that 6th spot from John Andrews, bringing also Terry Walker with him as well. So lap 64. So now at this point, we're going to have to really start to watch who's going to come down pit road, who's going to take tires, obviously these drivers are going to top off on fuel regardless. Tires mostly don't matter at Daytona, but they kind of do at the same time for the matter of grip. That's just mostly it. But other than that, fuel is really the only thing that truly matters at super speedways, like here at Daytona and then Talladega, which we're going to later on in the season. But BB Haynes currently leading the pack. Now there's a 0.9 of a second difference between this lead group and then the second group, which are going to converge into one here very, very shortly. But I don't know if they're going to be able to pull that off and pull this off on the second green flag run before the potential third round of green flag stops, which would be the final round. But coming around through turn number 4, looks like this pack has essentially, since they have Travis Crampton in their sights, they might have just potentially caught this pack. So they work their way back down into turn number 1. Terry Walker leading the charge with the second group. They have caught him. There it is. They just caught this pack. So now the question is, how are they going to be racing? They're still all single file. And Terry Walker really didn't have much luck on getting a good enough run to get by Crampton. And here we go with pit stops once again. Young's coming down on pit road with BB Haynes, Will Parrish, Gronkowski, Travis Crampton, John Andrews. Then you have Terry Walker, Fitzy, O'Brien, Egan, Cologne, Rampus, Taylor, and Hernandez. They're all on pit road. Michael DeFeo is following in the number 31 machine. Sustry, Moscow, Johnson, Floyd, Savantali, Block, Hamill. Everybody coming down pit road this time by. Every single car coming down pit road, with the exception of the drivers that we just saw stay out. PJ Vidal's coming back out along with Nia Seidel in the 41. Wyatt Walker also had service done to his car. He's back out on the racetrack with Ryan Durrani. Matthew Hubert back out as well. So it looks like these cars already made their green flag stops, and they are just now coming back out on the racetrack. Crown's in with Casey Wells, Damian Kyle Wood, and also I almost said Trey Bartow, but that's not Trey Bartow. That is Tyler Belladonna. They both have the same initials, but not even close when it comes down to the names. So lap 67 completed. Roberto Crown Jr. currently being scored as the leader, but we're gonna have to find out who's gonna have first place once this second round of green flag stops are completed. And there's a pretty decent chance that the lead might have actually gone back to some of these other cars right up here towards the front of the field. I'd say it might be BB Haynes in this 95. It might be. We'll see. Crown just exited the pits. He's heading back out onto the racetrack, followed by Casey Wells and also Damian Kyle Wood. And he's just barely gonna merge back out onto the track. He might just be behind. He just might be behind. I'm not sure what's going on here between the 51 and the 7, but they came really close to wrecking. But luckily, they hold it together and they are still green. But Michael Young, BB Haynes, they are out of here. First and second are essentially gone at this point, as we are now working lap 69 of the Great American Race, the Daytona 500. Currently, our second round of green flag stops are completed. Daniel Adams, once again, is in the sights of the leaders, way out. So he heads through turn number 4. These drivers are heading into turn 3 as Adams is working his way through the trioval this time by. But BB Haynes now on the attack down on the inside. Looks like he's going to try to take over the top position. And now this pack is now converged into one. And they are essentially going to eat these two for lunch. Crown's leading that charge. Heading back into turn 1. With Casey, with a couple of new players in here. Of course, we have Casey Wells, Damian Kyle Wood, Travis Crampton, unfortunately still a lap down, but still able to mix it up with these other with these other competitors, and might be able to help out his Penske teammate of Will Parrish. Quite possibly. We also have Mitchell O'Brien in the mix with John Andrews, Zachary Fitzwater, Chad Gronkowski, both of them who won our duels back on Thursday. And they are now in this pack. 70 laps complete, 30 laps to go here in this Daytona 500. Back down into turn number 1. Full song, BB Haynes still leading the charge with the 51 of Roberto Crown Jr. sitting in second, Parrish third, Damian Kyle Wood sitting in fourth. Now we're going to have ourselves a lead change. Crown trying to take it. Parrish trying to take it. 3 wide as they head back into turn number 3. And they're getting ever so closer to that 55 of Daniel Adams to put him now 14 laps down. Or 13 laps down, excuse me. I think he just got one of his laps back. .29 to go. Heading back into 1, Will Parrish holds on to the top spot for now, but Damian Kyle Wood was able to get the nose underneath. So now Wood pulls up alongside of Parrish, side by side, heading back down the back stretch. So now the gap between 11th and 12th is now 7 seconds. So that second pack of cars all the way back over here, and they're now 7 seconds back. These drivers are working their way off of turn 4 now as these guys are heading through the trioval to complete lap 72. Wood leads it. O'Brien on the inside. Is he going to get the nose there? He didn't quite get a good enough run to put the nose to the inside of that number 38. He might be able to do it here heading into turn number 3. Let's see what happens here. He pulls right up to the back bumper. Oh, not even close. Not even close to the point where he could make a pass. John Andrews now moving up into third, bringing Zachary Fitzwater, Gronkowski, Terry Walker in that 48. Right up into the mix. And Casey Wells, whom as I mentioned, started shotgun on the field, now finds herself inside of the top 10 as we're approaching 25 laps to go in this Daytona 500, just 2 laps away from that point. And I'm really surprised we have been caution free throughout this entire Daytona 500. Even the last couple times that we had our rounds of green flag stops, when those rounds were just getting started, we could have. I mean, there was points where I thought we were gonna wreck, just with drivers trying to get down to pit road, and I thought they were just gonna start hitting each other and scattering all over the racetrack, but that didn't quite happen. The closest thing that could have possibly happened to having a caution flag come out was Daniel Adams driving through the infield grass and possibly merging himself back out onto the racetrack in front of traffic. But that has not happened, luckily. But they've also caught Daniel Adams at the exact same time as soon as I was talking about him. But it looks like he's now going to go 13 laps down, as they are now 3 wide for second position. Terry Walker makes that run underneath of Gronkowski and Damian Kyle Wood. So now put that number 17 up into the top spot. Here comes the number 48 of Terry Walker down there on that inside line, bringing Casey Wells with him. Will Parrish up there as well on that inside line with Michael Young and BB Hange in that number 95 machine. 25 laps to go here in this Daytona 500. If you're just tuning in, we are 3/4 of the way through the Great American Race. We have not had a caution flag at all, so these drivers have kept it clean and green. The only driver that's been driving through the green was Daniel Adams, who ended up getting multiple infractions for driving through the grass as an unsafe pit exit. Had a couple stop and go penalties. Stayed on pit road for quite a while, and I think he probably had a handful of laps penalty, an X amount of laps where he had to sit in pit road, sit at his pit stall for an X amount of laps. But he is at the point where, unfortunately, he's not going to be able to recover from being 13 laps down, as you see right there on your screen. And also, speaking of, another thing that you see on your screen is Terry Walker going to the inside for the race lead here in this Daytona 500. But as far as Daniel Adams is concerned, he will have to wait until next week to recover from this unfortunately abysmal day for this 55 team of Daniel Adams. Same goes for Travis Crampton in the 22. This is definitely not the showing that he wanted here in this Great American Race either. Currently sitting 41st, 1 lap down. So neither of those drivers are going to get good starts to their seasons whatsoever. But it's still early in the 2024 year, so there's still plenty of time to potentially pop off, get some wins, maybe rack up some points to easily move your way up through the point standings, because as the season's going to progress, it's going to become much harder to do just that. Move your way up through the standings as time goes on. But Terry Walker, nonetheless, focusing back in, currently has the race lead. Michael Young right there in second. They break away from the pack just by probably about a car length and a half between second and third place, who is now being currently contested by the 95 of BB Hange. Getting by Will Parrish, who is now being contested by the 51 of Roberto Crown Jr. Mitchell O'Brien is up here. And now battle for second is on. Hange to the inside of Young. And now BB Hange is 1 spot closer to the first place. That is going to be Terry Walker in that number 48. You saw Daniel Adams peel off and go to pit road, and it looks like he might also not only of course is he 13 laps down, obviously, but he might also have a different pit strategy from everybody else. So that's why he's probably pitting much later than all the rest of these other drivers. That could also explain why he got one of his laps back as well. But right now, Terry Walker currently sitting in the best seat of the house with, it's probably an even better seat, because as he's probably looking in his rearview mirror, you see right here, Crown is also trying to get by Hange. That is for the second position. And that's really something that Walker really wants to see, these drivers going side by side, because that's going to make it tougher for these guys to catch this number 48. But you don't want to get too far out, because we've seen a couple times in this event that if you get too far out, these guys are going to eat you for lunch. We've seen that before, of course, with I believe Daniel Adams a little bit ago. We've seen this, I believe, with Damian Kyle Wood earlier in the race, when he was in 6th and then a second pack of cars came in and just swallowed him whole. But now here we are at this particular portion of this race. We're probably going to see it again with Daniel Adams. He just came back out onto the racetrack, and now he is working his way through turn 2, I do want to say. There was somebody out on the racetrack. I'm pretty sure the 55 might have had to come back down pit road. I believe. I'm not 100% sure. Actually, did he pull his car back behind the garage area? Nope, he's just now coming back out. Now he's coming back out on the racetrack. I thought I saw somebody on the back straightaway, and I thought for a second that they were also going to catch DK. They were going to catch Daniel Adams again, but that's not the case. Adams just pulled back out onto the racetrack, and I believe he's now going to be 14 laps down. And if they're able to catch him at least one more time, make that 15 laps down. But speaking of DK Woods, he's sitting in the 2nd position. Zachary Fitzwater in that number 9 moving up into the 4th spot. Terry Walker, who held on to the lead for a good amount of laps, unfortunately was not able to keep it for much longer. He now falls back into 5th. Now he might lose that 5th position to the 7 of Casey Wells as they work their way off of turn number 4 once again. DK Wood now takes over the lead here in this Daytona 500, bringing 4 teammate of Zachary Fitzwater there, who just yanks the nose way down on the inside. And he currently is sitting, well, currently right now being scored 3rd. As of this moment, as they head down the back straightaway once again, Wood pulls up in front of the 51. And now he's gonna tuck right back down into that 3rd line, or the bottom line. I didn't mean 3rd line. I meant the bottom line. I don't know where my brain's going, but it is just absolutely fried right now. "16 laps to go here in this Daytona 500, and the finish of this one might actually get pretty interesting. We're just gonna have to wait and see how these drivers are going to race at the finish, what the finish is going to look like. Is it going to come down to a fuel mileage race? We're just going to have to find out. Maybe in another potentially 10 laps, it could come down to a fuel mileage race where drivers are probably just going to peel off. They're probably going to top off on fuel, and they're going to be good to go the rest of the way, but I'm not 100% sure. You might also have some drivers that could roll the dice, or all of them might just stay out. All of them might just stay out. They might just all of them might roll the dice, try to see if the fuel's going to hold up. You never really know here, especially for the finish of this Daytona 500. We're closing in at that point, 15 laps to go. Zachary Fitzwater has just taken over the lead from Damian Kyle Wood. You have John Andrews sitting in that 3rd spot, and now going to try to go for 2nd as they are going 3 wide behind the top 3. Crown in that number 51, I thought was going to be one of those guys in the middle, and he exactly is. But I thought Parrish was going to go 3 wide on Michael Young and also DK Wood. That is not the case, but up front, you saw it there. Andrews just barely led that lap over Zachary Fitzwater. That could potentially be the finish of this great American race. You never really know until you get to that point. But we are shaping up for a very interesting finish as we are winding down to 10 laps to go. We're 4 laps, almost 3 away from that point. John Andrews currently leading the pack with now Michael Young, he's going to be scored in the 2nd position with Parrish 3rd. Looks like it's going to be BB Haynes that will score that 4th position over the 9 of Zachary Fitzwater. Actually, I stand corrected. Fitzy just barely got it over BB Hange, but Hange completes the top 5 no matter what. Terry Walker 6th, then you have the 7th position being occupied by DK Wood. Then 8th will be Roberto Crown Jr., 9th will be Chad Gronkowski, and Casey Wells completes the top 10. Meanwhile, Michael Young gonna go for that top spot on that number 17 of John Andrews. They're going 3 wide in the middle of this group with Terry Walker in the middle, Gronkowski going places on that number 36, and Fitzy just got shoved way high, so wow, I'm not even talking. I don't even know what I'm saying. He got knocked out of the top 5, of course, and now he's fallen back into the 9th position as we're winding down to it. Let's take a look further back in the pack to the second group of cars being led by Wyatt Walker, currently being scored 12th. There is a set, looks like that's a 6.8 second advantage that 11th place has over 12th place Wyatt Walker. As of this particular moment, they're 3 wide. Well, I thought they were going to go 3 wide. Cologne looked to be teasing that move, but that did not quite happen. But he's going to take a spot away from Skylar Taylor, and Tyler Belladonna is going to tuck in behind the 99 of Walker, and Travis Crampton, who unfortunately fell 1 lap down, also just I think might have gotten shuffled out of the first pack, and now here he is just barely trying to catch the whiff of the draft of the second group. At least trying to hang on and try to bring the car back in one piece before we pack up and get ready to go to Phoenix next week. So Crampton still has plenty of time to bounce back and maybe get a couple wins. Same goes for the 55 of Daniel Adams, and hopefully they do. I really cannot wait to see how this 2024 season is going to shape up here. 10 laps to go here in this Daytona 500. BB Hange leading the way with the 7 of Casey Wells sitting in the second position. The Mitchell O'Brien 3rd. Walker trying to get 4th. He's currently being scored 5th. Michael Young currently being scored in that 4th position. They have all but caught this number 55 of Daniel Adams once again. They're gonna, and this probably might be the last time that they're going to put the 55 at least one more lap down. That would put Daniel Adams 15 laps down in this race. Definitely not the way you want to start off your 2024 tenure in the NRLOA McDonald's Cup Series. And they have caught him, and they're going to get checked up just a little bit. Remember, none of these drivers that are just hung out onto the draft and running by themselves, they don't have any damage. So they're not really holding up these guys as badly as they would, say, if you had heavy amounts of front end damage or any ounce of damage. That's going to affect you aerodynamically in a huge way. And that is definitely not something that Daniel Adams is doing by any means. So he essentially is just going to blend right back in with this group, and he's going to be up to speed with everybody else. 8 laps to go. BB Hange currently leading. Terry Walker now moves up into the second position. He's not able to get the nose underneath of the 95, but he might be able to try it going down the back straightaway. Let's watch and see if Terry Walker is going to make the move heading down the back. Oh, he just pulled right up to the back bumper, but he failed to make the move. DK Wood is going to capitalize, and he's going to move to the inside to take over that the second position from the number 38, or for the 48, sorry, of Terry Walker, who's now under attack from the number 2 of Will Parrish. So they work their way back out of the tri-oval into turn number 1. Hange still holding on. He's trying to go 2 for 2 for Crown Jewel events. Remember, he won the Pumpkin 250 back in 2023. Now he's going to try to go for a Daytona 500 win to start off his 2024 NRLOA McDonald's Cup Series tenure. Heading back down into turn number 3. Chops way down to the bottom. And they are still 3 wide. Fitzy on the bottom, Crown in the middle, Walker up top. And looks like they're going to settle it back down to double file, at least for the moment. At least for now. But it also looks like that the number... it also looks like the 55 of Daniel Adams, he's also in the middle of a 3 wide situation. But it looks like they're going to get out of that here very, very shortly. They're coming to 6 to go. Parrish all over the back bumper of this number 95. But so is the number 9 to Zachary Fitzwater, who's all over the back bumper of the 2. He's going to be able to get the nose to the inside of the 2 of Parrish. So now as they work their way off of turn number 4, Parrish is now going to lose that second position from Zachary Fitzwater. He's going to lose it to Zachary Fitzwater, I should say. 5 laps to go. Here in this Daytona 500, this is going to shape up to be a pretty interesting one all the way to the finish. Fitzy moves up into second. Let's see if he can get the lead away from the number 95. He immediately drops low, but John Andrews goes up to the top side. Oh, Fitzy doesn't care. He's going to move right up alongside this number 95 of BB Hange. And he's going to try to take the top position away. He does. He clears the 95 off of turn number 4. Moves up to cover the spot. Now he's going to go right back down to the bottom to cover the bottom lane. 4 laps to go. Gronkowski, O'Brien, Wells. That trio of Chevrolets is all up here. But Wells makes it 3 wide as Gronkowski goes for the lead. Daniel Adams is going to follow, but remember, Adams is 15 laps down. So, but even though he is basically out of contention for the win, he can still shake up and determine be a complete deciding factor in who wins this thing. They come around off turn number 4. They're going to see 3 fingers in the air. 3 laps to go here in this Daytona 500. Gronkowski holds on to it. Casey Wells is there. Fitzy in third on the outside. Will Parrish is there as well. But I think if somebody like Will Parrish is going to have any shot at winning this race, he's got to get by that number 55 who's just in his way. They come to 3 to go this time by. Now here comes the 55 of Daniel Adams. He's going to spoil the party for Casey Wells. That's going to open the door completely wide open for Will Parrish to drive low. And this is everything that Chad Gronkowski wants to see. This is an absolute dream for him. 2 to go. But remember, Adams could also spoil the plans of the number 36 to pull away with this Daytona 500 win. Parrish, though, right there in that second position, he has a chance to take over this Daytona 500 lead. Here he goes on Daniel Adams. He's going to make the move underneath of the 55. Going to try to do away with him. And now it's down to the 36 and the 2. Here they come through turn number 4. They're going to see the white flag fly this time by. BB Hange pulls himself back into contention down there on that inside line. Here we go. White flag in the air. Parrish to the inside through the tri-oval. Leads that lap. Will he be leading coming back to the checkered flag? We're just going to have to find out. Parrish holds on to that top position. BB Hange is right there trying to go 2 for 2 for Crown Events. Crown Jewel Events, I should mention. They work their way down the back straightaway one more time. Oh, Hange is right there. He's going to make the move to the inside as they head back down into turn number 3. Casey Wells is going to drop low to help out. They work their way through turns 3 and 4, this time by side between the 2 and the 95. Hange pulls away. It's going to be close. Get out your cameras. Side by side. Not close enough, though. BB Hange wins the Daytona 500. And just like that, he goes 2 for 2 in Crown Events. He wins the Pumpkin 250 in October of 2023. And here we are in February 2024, the season opening race of the NRLOA McDonald's Cup Series. He wins the Daytona 500. Just 3/100ths of a second over the two of Will Parrish. How about that? That is some good stuff. Good action. Caution free all the way through. So definitely not the most appealing thing, but still good to see that we were able to go caution free and that we were able to see drivers, all 42 drivers at least, finish this race. But you see right there, those are the results. BB Haynes, the winner of the 2024 NRLOA McDonald's Cup Series Daytona 500, with Will Parrish second, Casey Wells finishing in third, Michael Young fourth, Roberto Crown Jr. completing the top five. He definitely turned his luck around here after the clash a couple weeks ago. Mitchell O'Brien, then John Andrews, Zachary Fitzwater, Damian Kyle Wood, and Terry Walker. They all complete your top 10. Take a look at the rest of your results right here. This is from 11th all the way down to 28th. And then you see here from 29th all the way down to, it looks like, 38th position. They all finished on the lead lap. Nia Steidel apparently retired from the race, running out of fuel in that number 41 machine. So she's going to be scored officially in the 37th position. And then only 4 cars finished 1 lap down or more, with Daniel Adams unfortunately getting the worst end of that stick, finishing 15 laps down in the number 55 machine. But that is your finishing order for this Daytona 500. Next week, though, we are going to be going to Phoenix International Raceway for the running. I believe it's called the Subway Freshman 500. I can't even remember anymore, but that's where we're going next week, and we hope you guys are able to join us at Phoenix International Raceway for race 2 of the NRLOA McDonald's Cup Series from Phoenix. One more time, congratulations to BB Haynes on winning the 2024 Daytona 500. And as always, I'm Elijah Leonard signing out, and take care, guys. Keep an eye on the points. Keep an eye on the NRLOA Discord for your point standings. Those are coming up probably right after this stream. So, nonetheless, thank you guys a lot for watching this race, and we'll see you on the next one.